Hi, my name is Gloria Cherubin. I'm the owner of Brooklyn Blue Smoke. Blue Smoke was established in the year 2012 in Brooklyn, New York. Establishing Blue Smoke here in Brooklyn was important to me because we saw a lot of transition in the city. The culture of New York, I always highlight Brooklyn. I mean, there's no question about that, but it's really about New York. It's really about the New York culture in terms of who we are and how we kind of curate and build what we know to be Black culture. Digging into the cigar space and the cigar industry in 2012 was really about building a space that was ours, building a space that really spoke to this level of life that we created for ourselves from various industries, and really just kind of like getting together around the leaf of tobacco to just kind of enjoy, whether it's the fruits of our labor, whether it's the way in which we decompress, whether it's the way in which we kind of like find room for ourselves to kind of engage and share. This room really kind of embodies all those areas of industry, all those areas of culture, all those areas of who we are as people here in New York in terms of what we do and how we do it. The industry itself, in terms of the spaces, the rooms that you come to enjoy cigars, are really male-dominated spaces that are occupied by a lot of men. As a female cigar lounge owner, my motivation for entering the space was really to kind of create a space for us. Outside of being in the cigar industry, I had the opportunity to travel to various parts of the world, Pakistan, to Hong Kong, to Paris, to Amsterdam, to Egypt. And every place I went to, I would look to enjoy the cigar experience there. Like, how did that country interpret cigars? What was their lounges like? What did that experience feel like? So in building out my own room, I kind of curated the room to reflect all of the different spaces that I experienced. But most importantly, just to kind of like bring it back, as a female smoker, it was important for me to, when I had opportunity to create a space, to make sure that all of the elements that a woman would need was here. So the room is sexy enough for her to feel comfortable, but still masculine enough for a man to feel like this is his home and this is his space. So building that balance. So when I designed the logo, it was intentional to camouflage the women's heads in the art. I didn't want people to make assumptions about Blue Smoke or the ideas around a female owning a cigar lounge and think that they were gonna walk into a room with pink chairs and balloons. So I used the ladies' heads in a way that really kind of like built the mystique around the brand, built the mystique around a woman owning the space, and camouflaged her into the artwork so that from a branding standpoint, a man will have no problem wearing this detailed filigree of art that actually is women's heads in a beautiful oval shape. When we talk about establishing a cigar lounge, in 2021, we don't think that as Black people, we still do them first. We think, when we think from a historical context of the spaces in which we occupy, or the first person to do something, we think all those things are in the past and they never really, it's not happening anymore. But the reality is, as early as 2012, when I opened up the cigar lounge, there are no Black female-owned cigar lounges in the entire Northeast. So from the top of Canada all the way down through to Florida, you can't find a lounge owned by a Black female. That's in 2012. So I was the first in that sense. It was exciting because I like a challenge. I like somebody to say to me that I can't do something, for me to really show that I can, and to really just kind of use that as fuel to prove them wrong. So opening up the cigar lounge, here in New York, in a city that has legislation that is not friendly to tobacco, but really kind of like deciding that, no, this is a space that we occupy, because the reality is, from a historical context, or just from time, like when you look at the early 2000s to present, when you start seeing the changes that's happening in the cigar industry in terms of the face of who's smoking cigars. When you think cigar smokers, most people aren't thinking of females. They're not thinking Black women. They're not thinking, sometimes even Black men. The idea of who is the average aficionado or who's in these cigar lounges across the country, I can promise you, 99% of them are not Black-owned spaces, and they're not spaces filled with Black people. But when you come in this room, New York City being what it is, it's a melting pot, so we don't just cater to our own. We obviously have created a safe space for our own, but the diversity that occupies this room from a Monday to Sunday, across the gamut, from a Sunday to Saturday, is everybody. Everybody that reflects New York. And I think that from a minority standpoint, that's important for us to kind of create that space. As I said, I wasn't trying to create a room that was just for women, but I think that the whole thing around being a sister or brother around relief is that we tend to kind of like engage in conversation, engage in space, engage in a level of vulnerability that kind of comes out of the tobacco and just kind of being relaxed and being in that decompressed space, or feeling like it's a Friday night and we want to turn up, and what that looks and feels like in New York versus any other place in the world. So we really wanted to kind of encapsulate that in this space. It's Brooklyn Blue Smoke. You ain't never been here, you need to come here. There's nothing like it anywhere under the sun of God. We ain't got to scream Brooklyn for you to know it's Brooklyn. But it's New York. If you're in our city, please come by. We'd love to host you. We'd love to have you. We'd love to smoke a cigar with you. See you soon.